Hello, Watem here, welcome back to more Umineko When Seagulls Cry. Let us continue. And it wasn't just crushed visibly and physically. Infrared and ultraviolet too. The warp portal conceptualizing hidden doors would remain destroyed from that point onward.
どうして書斎の主でなければゲームマスターでもないそなたが
He's right.
赤き真実を
Yeah.
その上何か隠し扉の存在を許さぬとな
And we've had at least one hidden door confirmed, I guess. Again, depends if you count the hidden gold to be a hidden passageway, or if it's something else.
それがミステリーだからです。ノックス第3条、秘密の通路の存在を禁ず。
No, it's let me just pull it up. Give me a moment. Let me quote it. Knox's commandments. Number 3. Not more than one secret room or passage is allowable. I guess in that case... How... Because they are aware that the gold probably exists somewhere and would be hidden somewhere. So, does it count as the hidden room? In any case, Knox's third is not as forbidden for hidden passages to exist. It's that not more than one secret room or passage is allowable. So your red truth is false. I've proven it. The game is broken.
ミステリーでね、隠し扉など存在してはいけないのです。あしからず。
And yeah, I mean, Knox as well has said that it isn't necessarily a requirement. I mean, Knox's commandments aren't really... aren't a requirement in the first place. It's more an observation of what makes for a good and compelling mystery story, which, of course, plenty of mystery stories haven't followed. But then there's also mystery stories which don't follow the requirements and yet are quite enjoyable. You know, this one as well, with all supernatural or preternatural agencies are ruled out as a matter of course. This is breaking that. Just from the premise alone, Umineko breaks that. Yeah. And like, there are exceptions where it's well thought out how it breaks the commandments, and it's there as a matter of course, and isn't just like Deus Ex Machina from the reader's point of view. And yeah, also, does Columbo count as a mystery category? Because it kind of is mystery. You've got a lot of similarities with it, but it's not quite the same. Because it's not a whodunit, it's more of a how catch them. Like, the process of catching it. Because you start off, the viewer is aware that, like, who the perpetrator is, but they're then watching the processes involved in how Columbo catches them. Along with, you know, gaining sympathy for the perpetrator. Like, you don't necessarily agree with him, but you can understand where they're coming from. And that's completely breaking with the first commandment of the criminal must be someone mentioned in the early part of the story, but must not be anyone whose thoughts the reader has been allowed to follow. And Columbo's enjoyable. But yeah, there's one more thing.
この世に我らの神を除いて他に一切の神はなく、一切の隠し扉は存在しません。存在してはなりません。させません。 我らの神への冒涜です。
魔女も呆れる傲慢よ。呆れを通り越して痛快である。
Yeah, and a lot of the commandments are loosely based off of Agatha Christie's works and observations in what people enjoyed in the mysteries. And so Agatha Christie, of course, making a lot of really enjoyable stories, but also quite often conflicting with what Knox was trying to evaluate for making a good story. And so some of them rules he's like, yeah, these aren't maybe necessary. It's like Agatha Christie's done things that completely break this, but still very enjoyable books. So in any case, I'll just enough ranting about that. Let's get going.
来たわね、魔女を貫く銃のくさみ。相変わらず聞いていて惚れ惚れする暴論だわ。
Is the 10 wedges a reference to something? I'm not getting it, at least.
愚かね。悪魔の証明なんてあやふやで。これまでは全てを逃れてきたのでしょうけど。
Of course, the 10 commandments. That's what the 10 wedges are.
ドラノールの前にもはやその手は通用しないのよ、ベアトリーチ
ェ。やはりあなたも凡白な魔女と変わりないです。
Yeah, so I actually have the 10 Knox's 10 commandments on my phone at the moment, just to look down for a moment just to see what my time was at, and just see the twin brothers and doubles generally must not appear unless we have been duly prepared for them, and just immediately remembering Higurashi with Shion and Mion. Yeah, and number 7, the detective must not himself commit the crime. There are like several mysteries where and good mysteries as well, where the detective at the very least doesn't know if they were the ones that committed the crime, and so you get a whole different dynamic with that, while they're trying to figure out what happened and if they were actually the cause. And it's still a compelling story. So it's, again, the commandments aren't so much a requirement, but guidelines to base off of. Except number 5. Don't be racist. That's one rule that you definitely should be keeping to. In any case, let's keep going.
失望します。
ベアト、やはりすんなり逃がしてくれる相手ではなさそうだぞ。
どうかもてなしてくださいな、ベアトリーチェさん。客人にお茶くらい出してほしいものです。三流で結構ですから。さあ、この密室書斎からどうやって金蔵さんが脱出したのか、青き真実で私に教えてください。
Yeah, I mean, to begin with, her first blue truth. She called it a checkmate. That's nowhere near a checkmate. Like, Kinzo's existence or not doesn't have any real bearing on the end result. It's a check at most, and barely even a check. Like, the worst it would do would be, so in chess terms, maybe it forces your king to move and you can no longer castle, but that's about it. It doesn't have any, especially, it's not a dangerous attack in itself. Not threatening, mate. Anyway.
よかろう。ほいずらかくでないぞ。金蔵が扉より抜け出した後、レシートの仕掛けに気づき、元の場所に正確に戻した可能性があるぞ。
すでに赤で否定済みです。
Oh?
書斎扉は23時以降一度たりとも開かれていません。
金蔵は希代の魔術師で発明家かもしれぬぞ。体を霧にする薬を発明して鍵穴から抜け出したのかもしれぬ。
Is it going to be denied with number 4, no hitherto undiscovered poisons may be used, nor any appliance with which will need a long scientific explanation at the end.
そのような薬は存在しません。存在してはいけません。
Maybe, but you haven't quoted it.
あるいはテレポート装置を発明していたかもしれぬぞ。
Again, that falls under number 4.
その可能性とて悪魔の証明で否定不能であろうが。
そのような機械も存在しません。存在することも許しません。
この世のすべての薬物をそなたは調べられるのか。未知の科学装置の存在を否定できるのか。できるわけがない。それが悪魔の証明。そなたにその存在を否定できるのだ。
Well, wasn't that the whole point of using red truth?
繰り返します。神の名においてそのような薬も機械も存在させません。
Or perhaps you'd need to have knowledge of it in order to use red. I think I've mentioned. It seems like you need to have knowledge of the fact in order to use red. But then Battler was able to use red, but he wasn't then aware of his own ancestry.
未来永劫存在することも許しません。
未来とな。ほうほう。そなたは人類の未来さえも否定してみせるというのか。
ノックス第4条です。
Yep.
未知の薬物および難解な科学装置の使用を禁ず。人類の進化と未来が持ち得る知識と技術は我が神が決定します。
But if you're going to depend on Knox's commandments to speak in red, you're immediately destroying the whole premise of this. With number 2, all supernatural and preternatural agencies are ruled out as a matter of course. You're not doing that yet. I mean, I don't think there's any Chinaman 2 figure in this story. I'm just looking through these and wondering, which ones might actually apply for this setting. The stupid friend of a detective. So, the stupid friend of... what's her name? The stupid friend of Erica, Bachelor, who's Watson, must not conceal any thoughts which pass through his mind. His intelligence must be slightly, but very slightly, below that of the average reader. I do love that one. But yeah, that's Battler, right?
そしてその存在の否定を永遠に宣告されました。よって未来永劫そのような技術の存在は許しません。許されません。
Berto and Delano had supposedly just gone through a massive exchange of red and blue. Now, such a thing, you could have a complicated scientific teleporter or something in your mystery novel. However, you need to introduce it already. It can't be an unknown device. You need to either directly introduce it or give the reader reason to believe that it exists, at the very least, even before anything happens. However, not only did Delano not take any damage, She also showed no signs of fatigue. Beato might have been a fearsome witch, but blood flowed through her veins and she did breathe. If it can bleed, it can die. How does the quote go? Something like that. She felt both pain and fatigue. But Delano was like a doll made of marble. That'd be impressive and heavy. But impressive that you got a doll made out of marble to move. She felt no fatigue, no pain, no hesitation. Even if Beato's sharp wedges had aimed right for Delano's eyes, she wouldn't have shot them. In fact, it's doubtful that she ever blinked in the first place.
ベアトリッチェ、しっかり。噂には聞いていたが、最悪の相性だな。夢も希望も未来の可能性さえ許さんとは、神々の傲慢恐れ入る。
Now that's an interesting expression you're making there.
さすがは魔女狩り執行人。生涯酒を酌み交わすことは叶いそうにないぞ。
Even the strikes that had made Battlers surrender over and over had absolutely no effect on Delano. Well, I more or less knew what that was coming, but to think that I'd be repelled so easily.
なんて気だな。
おやおや、天下のゴールドスミスも老いぼれたか。そなたの口からそのような言葉が出てくるなど、夜空に彗星を2つ迎えるより珍しい。
老いぼれどころか、とうに死んでいるでな。
そうであったな。すまんが、もうしばらくそうはさせぬぞ。
Aww. Beato experienced something she'd only rarely felt during her entire life. It was probably what we'd call hardship. Wow! That's certainly a scathing comment to make about her. Beato quietly brushed aside Natsui's hand that tried to comfort her. And she regained her posture again, showing off her witch's pride and her continued readiness to fight.
それで終わりですか？私が出向くまでもなかった失望です。
まだであるぞ。今のはほんの小手調べ。そなたの手の内を探ったに過ぎぬわ。
意図愚かなりや。身の程を知りたまえ。黄金の魔女。ベアトリーチェ卿。
Beato's expression became tense once again. No longer was there any trace of mischief. The mood changed.
もはや遊びの時間は終わりだ。行くぞ。ならば金蔵が書斎の出入りをしなかったことを認めようぞ。そなたの密室を受け入れようではないか。
近景、ベアトリーチェは攻撃法を変更したこと申し上げ立てまつる。
Yeah. Beatrice, who had until then thoroughly resisted the idea that a closed room existed, did an about-face. She claimed that she accepted their proposition. Of course, this didn't mean that she'd surrendered. This was a new attack of Beato's. Lana noticed this and readied herself.
どういうこと？
He's still here, this very moment.
密室を破ろうとしてるのに、どうしてベアトリーチェ卿は密室を認めるに？
Because her goal isn't to deny the existence of a closed room, it's to deny that Kinzo's already dead.
多分この部屋以外の場所で金蔵の存在を主張するつもりです。大ベアトリーチェ卿のワープポータル再起動を確認。
夏日は金蔵と書斎で話をしたと主張しているが、対面で話をしたとまでは言っておらぬ。 すなわち金蔵が書斎以外の場所にいたとしても会話が成立すれば矛盾はないわ。
That works too. Seemed blue instead of red for that. That's interesting. I feel like maybe that was last time. That was the same thing last time, but I don't think I really picked up on it. After bouncing at an erratic angle, Witcher's stake pierced the top of Lana's foot.
とろいわあなた。足の甲いっただけ。
ナチヒはこの書斎で内線電話を使い別の場所にいる金蔵と会話をしていたのだ。親族たちを嫌う金蔵が書斎に立ち入られることを予見して別の場所に避難していたとしても何の不思議もないわ。おそらくそれは隠し屋敷クワドリアンかもしれぬぞ。
Asmodeus' stake, which contained the power of Beata's blue truth and pierced Lana's foot, changed into a blue wedge.
うまい。筋は通るね。
青き真実有効であります。
A cyclone of gold butterflies swept up with Beato at its center. The magical power of the once smashed black gate was once again refilled. If I can manage to hold Lana off here, I'll be able to warp Kinzo out of the study this time, all the way to Kuadorian. Lana moved clumsily, trying to pull the blue wedge out of her foot, but it didn't even budge. Of course, Beato didn't miss his chance. No witch would.
さらに行くぞ覚悟せよ。ナツヒの言う金蔵が金蔵本人を刺さない可能性がある。ナツヒの言う金蔵とはこの部屋の別称かもしれぬぞ。金蔵はクワドリアンに避難していて連絡不能。ナツヒはこの部屋をお父様と呼びこの部屋で瞑想することで金蔵より啓示を受けているつもりになっていたのかもしれぬ。
Is that what happened the first time as well?
動きを止めたわね。もうあんたの負けよ。
Where will it hit? We suppose blue wedge pierced the base of Delana's neck. Of course, even this didn't cause her to flinch, but her movements are restricted even further.
面白い。
I'm imagining what it would look like if we had like stakes sticking out of her neck as like the different stakes hit her. And I guess the same goes for the other characters as well, but that would be something.
それで終わりですか。
前菜にスープで終わってはコースとは呼ばぬ。メインディッシュからデザートまで一気に食らって腹をぶちまけて死ね。密室ゆえに脱出不可能というならまだこの部屋に隠れている可能性だって否定できぬ。
Yep.
隠し扉ではないぞ。例えばベッドの下とか天井裏とか。
Would being above the ceiling count as being in the same room, I wonder?
悪魔さえ知り得ない。それでいて実にさりげない死角に隠れているかもしれぬな。
Oh, that's just reminding me of which Marvel movie was that? Where what Guardians of the Galaxy guy just goes, I've mastered the art of being so still that no one can see me or something. I don't remember the quote. I don't watch those movies much. But I'm just picturing him standing literally in the middle of the study, just perfectly still and no one noticing.
あるいは金蔵より特別に自分の代行を命じられたナチヒ。自らを当主代行であると同時にもう一人の金蔵だと自覚したかもしれん。つまり ナッチーが同時に金蔵でもあるという可能性だ。
And she was talking to herself, and therefore Kinzo.
まだまだあるぞ。金蔵は昨夜の23時の時点で窓から脱出していたの。
And Natsuki locked the windows after him.
そしてナッチーがそれを見届け窓に施錠をした。これでも何の問題もないぞ。いや、むしろ一番美しい青き真実ではないのか。どうだ、ドラノルエノックス。この密室より脱出する方法などいくらでもあるわ。
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like filling out all the possibilities. Kind of reminds me of a common thing in computer science where you have to basically try to optimize the worst case scenario rather than trying to give something that sometimes will work first time. You want what will, in the worst case scenario, give you the best result. Yeah, I guess not always, because, I mean, you could have a solution that, for small problems, that just takes as long as however many inputs you have. And suppose your inputs, let's just say it takes a second for each input you add. But you don't have any inputs longer than 10, so it takes at most 10 seconds. Then you wouldn't necessarily want the thing that always is able to solve it immediately after it finishes setting up, but it takes a minute to set up. Regardless of however many inputs you put in. But it matches up with some of the other problems as well. I remember one where I think it's got there's 5 spaces and there's like a rabbit in one of them. I'm really going on a tangent here. But there's a rabbit in one of them, you don't know which. Each turn you can choose to open up a box or whatever it is and see if the rabbit's under it. If it is, then you finish. If it isn't, then you put the box back down and the rabbit will move to an adjacent box. You don't know which box necessarily, but it will always move to a box adjacent to where it started. It doesn't loop around, by the way. It's so you have to figure out what is the maximum number of, or what's the minimum number of turns to take in order to cover all the possibilities and ensure that you catch the rabbit. And so you basically have a probability field in a way, you can think of it like that, where you have to, you look at, you do your actions and you know then which places it can't be anymore. And so you slowly narrow down your probability field until you've certainly covered your entire probability field. So you make an assumption and you assume that you won't catch it each time until there's no other possibility other than catching it. And so you've got all these branches, you cut them off until you finally get your solution. You always consider the worst case scenario rather than immediately going, well, my strategy is I'll open a box and if it's there, I win. You go, okay, well, I open this specific box and it won't be there. And so if it is there, then I win. That's a minor issue. The next turn, however, I'd then open this other box. Memory, that one works where it's the same pattern regardless of however many boxes there are, but you start off by basically considering that it starts on the even number boxes, and so you remove the possibility of it being in those even numbered boxes starting from there. Because each time it moves, it has to move to an adjacent box, so basically it can only be in one subset depending on where it starts, it can only be in one subset of the boxes at a time. Anyway, that has tangent's gone on far too long. Let's continue.
我が主に立てつく愚かさを知れ。お前には何の反論の必要も。そのまま破れて永遠に眠れ。
The seven sisters appeared from Beato's golden tornado, one after another, piercing Delano with blue wedges. 4 blue wedges were buried into her neck, chest, gut, and thigh, including the one buried into the top of her foot. She was pincushioned by 5 stakes. Leviathan sloth from memory? And so that's why she's been left out so far?
他にも思いついたら使ってやる。今は静かにしておれ。どうか魔女狩り人ドラノール。魔女を次々串刺しにして火にくべてきたそなたが逆に魔女に串刺しにされるのはどのような気持ちか。
They were all ridiculous arguments, but they came fiercely one after another. Yeah, so haven't made much progress today. Sorry for all the tangents. Kind of do wish that I'd gone further, but anyway, with the story that is. Anyway, I hope you've all enjoyed. Yeah, I don't remember the actual name of the problem that I was giving the example of. I don't remember. It probably wasn't even a rabbit or anything. In any case, let me know any feedback you have in the comments. And until next time, see ya.